Happy Tuesday, Year 11s. Today we continue with the sine rule. We're going to be looking at finding the angle. It's really not much different than yesterday's lesson. It gets a little bit messy, I would say, with the last step. There's just a lot to write down more than anything, but your calculator is going to handle everything for you. So today we're going to be looking at finding an angle, but before we do that, I found these two questions which I think are kind of interesting about using the sine rule to find a missing side. So if you go ahead and try those now, I'm going to press pause and I'm going to work them out myself and I'll get you the answers, all right? All right, here are my answers for these two questions, but you know, I could have done things wrong, so if you didn't get these answers, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong. In the pink question, it's an isosceles triangle, so you can see that the bottom angle is also 44 degrees, and then in order to find the top angle, you just use your angles in a triangle, and then you have your two pairs. So you have your x and your 92, and you have your 17 and your 44. All right, so we will work out to get to 24.5 centimeters. And in the blue question, you need to use your angles on a straight line to get 75 and to get 26. And then from there, I use my angles in a triangle to find 79. All right, and then for my final answer, I got 29.5. All right, hopefully you did too. Hopefully we all did that correctly. All right, let's start today's lesson. Okay, so the plan for today is that we're all going to be able to know the sine rule and be able to write it down. We're going to write it differently than yesterday, but it is more helpful today. We're going to use the sine rule to find a missing angle, and then some of us will also try to mix things up and we'll have questions that have a missing angle or a missing side, and you have to decide which way to use the sine rule because it's different each time. Okay, so we're looking at around grade 7 or grade 8 and things like that. So here we go. Okay, so same triangle as yesterday and same general idea with the sine rule as yesterday. You can just hopefully see that we can use the exact same sine rule, but it's just kind of like upside down if you'd like. So this is the way that we use it when we're trying to find a missing angle. And the reason why is because we've got the angle on the top. So yesterday we were looking for a side length and we put the side length on top. But today we're looking for a missing angle, so we're going to put the angle on top. The sine rule hasn't changed. We still have sine A divided by side A is equal to sine B divided by side B, which is also equal to sine C divided by side C. So it's going to be exactly the same thing, and we still need a pair in order for us to work this out. So we need to have an angle and its opposite side in order for us to do this. All right, let's try this out as a question. All right, example 1, find the size of the acute angle x in the triangle. So I know we're going to use the sine rule because the lesson says the sine rule, but I don't really think I talked about this much yesterday. When we use the sine rule, we can use the sine rule when we have two pairs of an angle and an opposite side. Okay, so that's why I like to draw the arrows so I can see that I have the angle and the opposite side. I can see that I have that matching up here with the 4 pieces of information. I only have one unknown, which is my angle. So I can go ahead and find that. So I'm going to write out what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for the sine of angle x. So I'm going to write sine x divided by, actually, hang on. I changed my mind. We're going to use some different letters. We're going to label the triangle first. Over here, we've got angle A, and then opposite that, we would have little side A, and then up here, we've got angle B, and opposite that, we've got little side B. Okay, so we're looking for angle A this time, so let's go ahead and write that out. So we've got the sine of angle A divided by side A is equal to the sine of angle B divided by side B. And then we can just go ahead and fill in what we know. And we know we've got the sine of x divided by 8.1 is equal to the sine of 72 divided by 9.8. So then we're going to go ahead and bring the 8.1 up and multiply. So we have the sine of x is equal to 8.1 times by the sine of 72 degrees divided by 9.8. And this is what I was saying in the starter when I was saying things get a little bit messy. It's not that big of a deal. It's just I like to just keep writing everything out and then just chuck everything into my calculator. So we're actually looking for angle x. So we're going to have to take the inverse. So we have x is actually equal to the sine inverse of all of this business here which is 8.1 times by the sine of 72 degrees divided by 9.8. And we put all of that into our calculator. I'm sorry, it's going to take me a minute. Sine inverse of 8.1 times by fraction sine 72 close bracket divided by 9.8. Move the cursor and bracket again. All right, I get 51.8 degrees. Okay, you can call that 52 degrees if you would like. I don't really mind how you round that. All right, let's try another one. All right, example 2. I really want to tell you that it's going to be different this time, but I don't really think it is. So here we go. Find the size of the angle M in the triangle. So like I was saying before, I think it's a good idea to try and label the triangle. So let's just go ahead and use M, capital M over here, which, let's actually not do that, because then there's just going to be a bunch of problems. So let's get rid of that. Let's actually try to label it with capital A, and that makes this little side A. And then this will be capital B and little side B. So again, we have a side and a matching angle, and a side and a matching angle, so we can go ahead and find angle M. So that is the same as capital A. So if we write this out, we have the sine of angle A divided by side A is equal to the sine of angle B divided by side B. And then we go ahead and we fill in what we know. So we've got the sine of A, which is what we're looking for, divided by 8 is equal to the sine of 75 divided by 10. And then we want to multiply by the 8 and take the sine inverse. So let's try to do that all in one step. So A is the sine inverse of 8 times by the sine of 75 divided by 10. And again, I'm probably going to take a moment to do this because I'm not so fast on my calculator. Sine inverse of 8, times by fraction, sine 75, close the bracket, divided by 10. Oh, I put too many brackets in, my calculator's yelling at me. All right, and the final answer I get is angle A is 50.6 degrees. I'd probably just call it 50 degrees. Oh, no, I wouldn't. I'd call it 51. I'd probably call this one 51 degrees. All right, the size of angle M is 51 degrees. I don't know what the next example is going to look like, so maybe we'll skip it. We'll see. All right, last and final example from me. I don't really think it looks that fancy. Let's see if we can do it without labeling the triangle, because I'm just going to be crazy now. Find the size of angle B and give your answer to 1 decimal place. Looking really quickly, I can see the 5.1 goes with 100 degrees, and the 3.6 goes with angle B. So here goes nothing. We've got the sine of B divided by 3.6 is equal to the sine of 100 degrees divided by 5.1. So we've got little angle B is equal to the sine inverse of all of this business over here, which is 3.6 times by the sine of 100 divided by 5.1. All right, let's grab our handy dandy calculator and sort this out. So we've got the sine inverse 3.6 times by the sine of 100 divided by 5.1 and close everything off. This time I get 44.0 degrees. Okay, they said to give it to 1 decimal place, so I do need to make sure that I write the 0.0 this time. All right, I think that's it. I'm trying to think of anything else they could ask you to do that's fancy. Maybe they might ask you to actually also find this angle over here. If they ask you to find that angle over there, obviously you can just add up 144 and take that away from 180. 36, I'm thinking. All right, so maybe they'll ask you to find all of the angles. I'm trying to really get this to be fancy, but I don't think I can. All right, please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.